Would you please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Heavenly Father, we beseech your divine guidance in this meeting. Keep us ever mindful of our obligation. Grant us, dear Lord, wisdom, tolerance, and courage that we may well serve our county and fulfill our trust. Amen.
Amen.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of January 20th.
Second.
Discussion? Roll?
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Sweattick?
Yes. Do we have any public comment regarding any pending resolutions for today? Seeing none, we will move on to resolutions. First up is County Engineer, and we have Dan Becker here today.
Morning.
Good morning,
Dan.
I've got 4 resolutions for your consideration. The first is authorizing the county engineer to advertise for bids for pavement, planing, and repair on various county roads. The second is authorizing the Medina County engineer to advertise for bids for a thin asphalt overlay on various county roads. The third is authorizing the Medina County engineer to advertise for bids for a chip and seal on various county roads. And the last is accepting and awarding the bid for the resurfacing of Columbia Road between Lafayette and Norwalk Road in Lafayette Township.
Hard to believe we're talking about paving roads right now. So,
know.
yeah,
We say it's a good thing. It's nice
yeah,
to
it's a
think
good
about
thing.
that.
That's nice in the spring. Move to approve all 4 resolutions.
Second.
Discussion? We would like to thank your department for all the
yes.
hard work in the last few days. I
Thank
know
you.
you guys did not get much sleep, so thank you very much.
I'm sure they
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
I'll pass that along. But thank you very much.
Roll?
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Jeremy Cinco, Sanitary Engineer.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
2 resolutions for consideration today. The first is authorizing the sanitary engineer to enter into an agreement with Accenture PLC for construction and inspection services for the Blake Avenue Road Reconstruction Project. And the second is authorizing change order number 1 for the automatic transfer switch project.
Move to approve the 2 resolutions.
Second.
Discussion? Roll?
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Sweattick?
Yes. Thank you,
Thanks.
Jeremy.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Denise Testa from Planning Services.
Good morning.
So I just have a resolution amending resolution number 25-0729 by adding 2 members to the subdivision regulations and proposed development agreement work group.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Roll?
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Sweattick? All right. Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Holly from Human Resources.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have 2 resolutions for you today on our resolution to approving personnel changes. We have 1 new hire in sanitary, 1 rate increase in commissioners, 1 transfer within department in sanitary, and 1 leave of absence in sanitary. Second resolution is amending the table of organization for the Medina County Sanitary Engineers Department.
Move to approve the 2 resolutions.
Second.
Discussion? Roll?
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Thank you.
Holly.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Brett Thomas, Finance Director.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I have 4 resolutions for you today. Our first one is a transfer of cash to the Medina County Emergency Management Agency. This is for our annual transfer for their subsidy in the amount of $86,894.50. Our second resolution is an amendment to the Family Centered Services and Support Grant between the Ohio Department of Children and Youth Services and Medina County Family and Children's First Council. Blech. This grant had originally been approved in November of 25. It has been recently amended by DCY to increase the amount of funding by $22,616.27, and they've also extended the term from June 30th out to September 30th of 26 for us. Our third resolution is expenses for county officials. We have nothing out of state this week. And our fourth resolution is our weekly bills in the amount of $1,916,033.53.
Move to approve the 4 resolutions.
Second.
Discussion? Roll?
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Thank you,
Brett.
Commissioner.
Next up, we have Matt Springer, our County Administrator.
Good morning. I have 4 resolutions. The first one is authorizing a 1-year contract extension for yard waste services at the Solid Waste District. Second resolution is approving the annual appointment of the Medina County Dog Shelter Advisory Committee. We have 1 new member, Allison Novak. Third resolution is approving a lease for a vehicle in the building department to replace a vehicle that has some pretty costly repairs. It's better off to return that vehicle and lease a new one. And then the fourth and final is authorizing a 2026 contract for beautician services at the Medina County home at a cost of $260 per month. This is a new beautician that would service the residents of the home.
Move to approve the 4 resolutions.
Second.
Discussion?
We mentioned it last week, but that the Dog Shelter Advisory Committee is doing some really good work.
Yes.
And glad to see that most of the folks are back. And I know our new member, she's done some great things too. I think she was the one that was in the recent piece on one of the
I
new
think it was
stations.
WKYC.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of great things to advise over specifically this year. It's going to be fun.
There's a lot of good policy that's being adopted and implemented. Exciting things on the horizon.
Good.
For sure.
Excellent.
One of the members in the room too.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
Roll?
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
Matt.
you. Okay, we're going to move on to department updates. First up, we have Debbie Kiley, Job and Family Services.
Good morning.
Good morning. First, just 5 resolutions for your consideration this morning. The first is authorizing the county auditor to transfer funds from the JFS Children's Services Fund to the Public Assistance Fund. The next is authorizing the county auditor to transfer funds for child support administration and RMS expenditures. The next is authorizing the county auditor to transfer funds from the county general revenue fund to the JFS Children's Services Fund. The next is authorizing the county auditor to transfer funds from the county general fund to the JFS Public Assistance Fund. And lastly, the county auditor to transfer funds from the county general fund to the Child Support Enforcement Agency Fund.
Move to approve the 5 resolutions.
Second.
Discussion? Roll?
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Sweattick?
Yes.
As is my custom in January, I like to go over like a year in review of 2025 or years prior. So for the Public Assistance Division, they processed nearly 6,000 applications for assistance. They processed over 1,000 requests for emergency assistance that issued about $356,000 in emergency benefits to individuals. That's typically rent to avoid eviction, utilities, and car repairs. We've issued over $19 million in SNAP benefits and over $800,000 in cash assistance benefits. That cash assistance benefits is TANF, or Ohio Works First. That's for our low-income families and children. The division continues to consistently be over 95% the timeliness authorization standard set by the state of Ohio, and more often than not, they're at 100% of those cases have been approved timely. They've also met Medicaid timeliness measures that have resulted in some incentive dollars coming back to the agency, so I congratulate them on all those acts. The Child Support Division, they've collected over $18 million in support. They do a federal fiscal year, so it's still 2025, but it does include some 24 numbers. And then they've also collected over $4 million in past due or arrears payments, and they've established paternity on over 99% of the cases that have contacted them requesting establishment. The Child Protective Division, we've screened over 1,500 reports of abuse or neglect, and we averaged 93 children in care. In 2024, that average was 113, so it's going in the right direction. In 2025, 52 children left our care, and of those, 31 were reunified with their parent or other caretakers. We had 12 youth adopted. That's a number I've not seen since becoming director, so that was fantastic news for those kiddos. We also had 9 that emancipated out of our care. The average length of time in foster care in 2025 was about 17 months. That does not include those that were adopted, because typically those have 24 months to be reunited with their family, so they're likely in care longer than 17 months. At the end of 2025, we have 50 foster homes that are licensed solely by our agency, and 6 of those are kinship homes, meaning they are relatives or what they call fictive kin, meaning they have a relationship with the child even if it's not by blood marriage or adoption. So 6 of those families have stepped up to provide care for our children in the county, and 73 of our children on average are placed with our own licensed foster care, and at the end of 2025, we had an average of 25 children in treatment facilities. The division continues to be recognized by the state for our investigative timeliness efforts, which has once again brought incentive dollars back to the agency. So congratulations to them. That is a super fast summary. It's been a busy year in 2025, and 2026 is not going to be any less. Any questions for me?
Thank you so much.
Very good.
Thank you.
Great
Stay
job.
safe out there.
You too.
too.
Next up, we have Shannon Ryan, our Transit Director.
Good morning.
Good morning. Just reviewing December 25. Ridership for us was a little down. I believe it's just the weather, I think Commissioner Harrison said last time I was here. But we're just seeing a little bit of a downturn in ridership, but it's definitely going to come back up as soon as the weather breaks. I just want to recognize that our mileage was significantly down from the previous year. Our overall mileage, which helps us sustain our vehicles a little bit longer. Fuel usage is down, so our efficiency is just shown year after year that we're continuing to make improvements in that area. Cost, however, peaked up a little bit in December, and I believe it's just an adjustment as we go through. But going into our budget season we're going through, we're going to, we're showing that we're going to meet or exceed this year's budget with just a slight increase for next year, just for cost, the things that tend to go up. I just also looked at our senior trips. They were down a little bit. That may change with the weather too for the month of December. Just looking at how we're doing overall, I believe we're going to have a good new year. I don't see any concerns. We do have some good news in the way of our buses coming. I just spoke to our vendor. Our 4 new should be coming soon.
Good.
That turnaround's only been about 4 or 5 months, which is much improved. And our staff has done a good job of hiring drivers. I believe we're only 1 driver from being fully staffed.
Wow.
Which is very
Wow,
nice.
awesome.
And Amy's done a really good job. The staff's done a really good job of making sure we hire the right people. They're very focused on the safety aspect. We did hire a new opening supervisor who is, again, very focused on safety. He was very happy to see how we handled yesterday. I think everybody did the right thing and made sure, but they're rolling now. Everything's going very well. I would like to applaud the service of the streets and our parking lots, which really helped us get off to a good start this morning.
Very good.
So that's it.
Great.
Thanks, Shannon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Next up, we have Stacy Malakar from MCBDD.
Good morning.
Good
I
morning.
have a handout for you. So just kind of start off, I want to, as we look at the end of 25, the beginning of 26, this is our annual report, kind of highlighting some stuff that occurred in 2025. Again, you'll see that we increase our numbers of people in the county that are eligible for services, increase in both children and adults. I wanted to share just some highlights of some of the partnerships of things that we accomplished last year. Areas of supporting community accessibility efforts. We had partnered, one thing we'd partnered with the commissioners with that universal changing table. We've worked with Medina County Recreation Center, the Village of Seville, the Brunswick City Schools to fund some fully accessible playground equipment for people, as well as universal changing tables. We just had one in Medina Rec Center here a couple months ago, which is really great. It's a game changer. We had this past year for the first time a Sensory Friendly Friday at the fair, which was a huge success, partnering with them. So we'll be doing that again. And working with our safety resources this past year, we did some training with our safety forces. We've helped with providing the Roth ID tags and the blue envelopes, which are just another resource for people that have loved ones with disabilities to communicate information in times of crisis. We've increased our advocacy programs, which is huge. We work with people together with the society, as well as our own advocacy groups. So there's a lot of great stuff that happened in 2025. One of the things I do want to talk about is in 2025, statewide, the county board funding system, statewide, is the first year we have seen deficit spending across the state. We also in 2025 started to deficit spend, although very small amount. We're seeing that increase in 2026. So there's a trend that I'm sharing with you. As part of that deficit spending, we have seen a number of county boards across the state that have gone into fiscal emergency. That fiscal emergency is that criteria and how it's established and obligations that county boards are responsible for in those situations, is all in Ohio Revised Code. We can continue to see in 2026, we'll continue to see deficit spending. We will continue to see an increase in Medicaid waiver matches. This is the first time our mandated Medicaid waiver match is our greatest cost, higher than staff and benefits, which in the people business, that's a big cost. This year we will see a 26% increase in that mandate. So that's just going to continue to grow. And again, it's based on, the needs. We continue to see more people needing services. As people get older again, that lifetime commitment that service costs and needs are increasing. One of the things I will say, and that I'm very proud of our agency, is that, we've been very conservative. We've been very thoughtful on how we planned our budgets. We're where we need to be, where we anticipated that we would be, and we are going to be able to keep our commitment to make it through this levy cycle. The levy cycle ends in 2030, and that is contingent, of course, as long as there's no significant change at the state, federal, local levels. But we're where we had planned to be, and as long as we can continue with our projections, we will meet our promise to the taxpayers to make it through this levy time. Just a couple things that are coming up. Just want to let you know, Leadership Academy, we're taking applicants. And of course, the Leadership Academy, our current board member, Adina Kohler, was original member of that class. So it's a great opportunity for folks to build those skills and get out in the community. We continue to see early intervention services increase. And again, early intervention, game changer, better outcomes for the kids, really leads to the potential of more independent life and depending less on services and supports. Momentum Refresh, one of my favorite topics, the mobile changing unit. You'll be seeing those around again throughout the county at events. We've increased those events, and it's been met with great, very welcomed and a lot of use. Our use, I think there's some numbers in our annual report that talks about the increased use. And again, that goes with anybody with mobility issues. It's not just folks with developmental disabilities, but it certainly makes a difference. Any questions? I kind of threw a lot at you.
No, it's great.
But,
Beautiful report.
If you don't mind, I know you and I had a conversation at one of our community events regarding the initiative to eliminate property taxes.
Yes.
And obviously, I do encourage people to take a look at your website, and also looking at I guess we'll look at the fiscal composition of your revenue source.
Right.
And that, over 80% are from the local
Yes.
levy. So if you get rid of property taxes, that's over 80% of your revenues.
It is.
And where the money would come from would remain to be seen. And I think explaining that to the public helped them evaluate, I guess, the worthiness of this initiative that's out there. And I think the public education component is really important.
Yeah.
I know we're all upset about property taxes and everything going up, but we need to be aware, too, where it's actually being spent and what the results would be if that initiative were to come through.
Thank you. It's a huge impact. And again, our levies are fixed levies.
Right.
So again, whenever that levy was voted in,
Right.
while property taxes increase, our levy stays the same. And you're right, it's about 80% of our cost that provides these services. If something happens to that, the services will stop.
Right.
Yeah.
We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
your time.
Stacey.
Do we have any public comment today? Please state your name and address, please.
Therese Warzakowski, 2805 Lake Road, Wadsworth, Ohio. Good morning, everyone. I'm awfully nervous. This is my
It's
first
okay.
time
It's
here.
okay.
I am a certified peer recovery support specialist. I work for Judge Hudson. This is in regards to the treatment courts within Medina County at the Court of Common Pleas. I also work for Judge Kimbler in her mental health and her drug court. So our treatment courts are Supreme Court certified, and they have established a National Treatment Court Alumni Association. I am an alumni member. Judge Hudson, I work for Judge Hudson. He came into play in 2023, and as soon as we had some graduates, I wanted to start an alumni group. And we have established an alumni group. It's called We Rise, Working Recovery. We are located at Hope Recovery, and we established that so that we can keep the participants still engaged within their community, because recovery doesn't happen in the treatment court. It actually happens in the community. And we began in June of 2025. And we've really blossomed. We've worked for, we volunteered time to United Way to stuff the backpacks, and Salvation Army with doing gifts, Cups Cafe. We did a food raise. On the 31st, we're going to do a sled riding party. We don't have any funds for our alumni group. I have met with a lawyer who is doing this pro bono. He gave me 2 weeks to find board members so that we can become established as a 501c3. And I'm here with a big ask to ask for direction and just support. I really do believe in the alumni group as far as giving back to the participants. They can come back to treatment court. They've walked the walk. They know how to speak with the participants, engage them, and tell them, recovery doesn't stop here when you graduate. You have to continue this one day at a time and give back to the community and so they can strive.
Have you talked to Philip Titterington about recommendations for board members?
I have not. I actually asked.
I think he would be a wonderful resource for
Okay.
you, and I'd be happy to give you his phone number.
Okay.
But I think considering the makeup of his board,
Yes.
they would be the exact kind of people that I think that you would be looking for.
Okay.
So before you leave, I'll make sure I give you his contact information, because I think he would be probably one of the best people in the county to give you suggestions for the type of board that you're looking for.
Okay. Thank you, President Sedgwick.
Anybody else?
No, that's good. It's good. you
Okay.
said that.
I have contacted the Recovery Center in Medina County, the Health Department. I had spoken with the Adam Board as far as, is there any kind of funding that you can give us? Because my thing is, if you feed them, they will come, and then to start to get them engaged. So, is there any way that I can stop back and let you guys think about some of these things, or is that a final?
A final as far as?
Just looking for board members. And I
Okay.
apologize if I am
Coming here and I guess
inappropriate.
I'll-
Oh, you're
Public
not
and-
inappropriate at all.
Thank you.
Can always even have Brian do a little article in the newsletter.
Yes. Well,
that you're
before you
looking-
leave,
yeah.
we'll hook you up with Brian, too.
Okay,
So for
thank you
public
so much.
information officer.
Thank you so
And I would
much.
suggest there is a One Ohio grant cycle coming up forward.
Yes.
That would help provide funding for groups such as yours. It's a competitive grant.
Yes.
And with the region, we have allocations per county. But just go on One Ohio website.
I have.
Okay, all right.
Uh-huh.
And then check
Okay.
it out. Okay.
Yes.
But
All right.
we'll hook you up to Brian. We do our newsletter every other week, so that gets out to 17,000 members of our community. So
Okay.
we'll get you those two things before you.
Thank you so much.
Very
Thank you
welcome.
very
Thank you.
much for your time.
Okay, so we do have two announcements. We have a notice of a liquor permit filing. Just for the record, new liquor permit filing. The commissioners received a notice of a new liquor permit request from GMA Biscuits Medina, located at 4913 Pearl Road, Medina Township, Medina, Ohio. This is for a D51 permit, and this is no hearing required, just a notice for the record. Our second notice is a municipal annexation petition on January 29th, 2026. The clerk of the Board of Medina County Commissioners
Wrong
received,
date.
excuse me?
That's the wrong date I put on there, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
It was last Friday.
It was last Friday, okay. A municipal annexation for 3 parcels of land totaling .8618 acres more or less, of land from the state of Ohio to the city of Brunswick. No public hearing is required. The commissioners will review the petition at their regular meeting on Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026, at approximately 9:30 a.m. And again, that's just for public notice. So next up, we have discussion sessions. Steve, do you have anything?
Yeah, actually, Jeremy, did you want to we have I think we sent that out to you, a notice of a violation in our Southern Water District drinking water program, so I don't know if you want to.
Yeah,
Brief
correct.
us on that.
So back in the end of May, or actually earlier last year, we had what's called a sanitary survey conducted on our southern water system. The EPA basically comes in and just audits the water system to make sure we are compliant with EPA guidelines, OAC and ORC. And one of the things that the EPA was focusing on was auxiliary water systems. So we reviewed the Southern Water District, and we worked with the health department. They gave us all of their active auxiliary water systems, which would include like a pond, a cistern, or a well. And we cross-referenced that with customers we have. So basically, if you have an active auxiliary water system and a connection to the public water system, you either need to do one of two things. You either have to abandon your auxiliary water system, or you're going to have to install a backflow prevention device, and that is to prevent this auxiliary water system from backfeeding into the public water system and potentially contaminating it. So we've been working with the EPA on this and the health department, and we're going to need to send out letters. Right now in the Southern Water District, we have about 107 customers that have both they have an auxiliary water system and connection to the system, and they'll have to receive a letter that says either one, you're going to have to abandon your auxiliary water system, or two, you're going to have to install a backflow prevention device, which then has to be installed by a certified backflow preventer plumber, and then once it's installed, it has to be checked annually in order to make sure that it's still operating properly, and that's annually forever. We're also going to have to give them a time frame on this to complete one of these two items, and then if they don't, we're going to have to suspend their water service until one of those two items are accomplished, as they, again, in the eyes of the EPA, are a threat, or actually through OAC, are a threat to the public water source. So I wanted to at least advise you on this, and I'm assuming we're going to receive some pushback from the residents on this.
I'm pretty sure, because it's going to, now a backflow preventer like that, it's going to cost about a couple thousand?
I think we checked with the local plumber.
Yeah.
Roughly speaking, $1,000.
Okay.
Per installation. Now that's going to vary depending on the internal plumbing at each location.
So those that had like wells before they connected up to the public system, or a cistern, or a pond, it's not enough that they're no longer connected. It's just that they're basically going to have to be abandoned. Mm-hmm. And so I guess the question comes as to what do you do about ponds? I mean, you're not.
That is, and we're looking for direction from the Ohio EPA on this, because really the code states that if a premise has access to an auxiliary water source, well, a pond is, I mean, a cistern and a well you can abandon. Like a well, you would fill it with concrete, cap it off, pull the equipment out, right? Same with the cistern. But with a pond, it's always there. I mean, nothing would prevent someone from going to Home Depot, grabbing a pump and some piping, and running it after we leave, right?
And in some cases, people receive a discount on their homeowner's insurance by having a pond. That the fire truck, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Seriously, if a truck can come up, drop the hose into the pond, you know what I mean?
Correct.
So that would be a cost too for
But these
them.
are locations where there is a water main, which would have
Right.
fire hydrants available for the same
problem-
fire protection.
This is not with unintentional cross connection between a public and an auxiliary system. This is to prevent purposeful or
Yeah.
intentional connections
Now,
to a water system.
Correct. Now, we had a certified plumber go out and do inspections at each one of these residents, and there was not found to be any cross connections made between any of the auxiliary water sources and ours. But again, Ohio
And
Administrative Code does not.
And this is a small area. We know we have another area that's now going to be reviewed this year, which has far more. Because as we've expanded the system and people had I know people have had cisterns, they only use it for their garden and so forth. Literally, they're going to have to go through the cost of
So the violation is essentially the existence of an
the existence.
alternative?
Yes.
An active, and these people, some of them may not even use their well
Right.
anymore, but it's still quote unquote
But they have to-
active.
but they have
because
to
it's
cap
still
it.
permitted through the health department.
So I think a part of our communication ought to be to direct them to our state representatives and state senator, because it has to do with the interpretation of the administrative code dating back 2 decades. Right?
Yeah, this went into effect in '03.
Yeah.
We,
Yeah.
the EPA and our office really got involved. I'd say about 10 years ago is when we made it so our permitting prevented these from happening going forward. But really from that 2016 to prior, those are the ones that we need to address. And like Commissioner Hambley mentioned, our Northwest system, just preliminarily looking, we have about 1,300 properties in that system that fall in the same
So
boat.
basically, that kind of cost on that many individuals because of the existence of an auxiliary system.
Now, this is currently going on in
Yeah.
Lodi and
Yeah.
rural Lorraine. I don't know how much in the city, because I don't know how many auxiliary water systems there are in the city of Medina.
Our trouble
But-
is over the decades, we've had development out in areas and we have extended our water system
Yeah.
into those, and people that rely to have their own system in place, we're glad that they finally got our water, our public water system, but now this is an additional cost that none of them had anticipated.
I also learned that
Yeah.
last week's soil and water meeting that
Yeah.
Medina County at one point in time was
More
noted
ponds.
for having more
Yeah,
ponds than
that's
any
right.
other spot in the state. So uniquely positioned for this to be a real problem for us.
And we
because-
don't
Yeah.
know where our current direction with the Ohio EPA is that if the pond was previously permitted as an auxiliary water source,
Yeah.
then they would need the backflow. If the pond was never permitted, then no. We're just waiting for final determination from them
Right.
because we're like, we don't want to go through all this and then realize we told someone that, oh no, you're good, but then find out you're not. Or
Right.
so we want concrete direction
So
from them.
you don't know of the 1,000 plus in the northwest quadrant, how many of those would fit that bill? But if they predate the public water, probably many of them do.
Yeah, like I said, we think about 1,300 right now.
Those are with that permitting.
and I know
Those are with
process?
active auxiliary water service permits with the health department and our customers. of
Probably a
ours.
number of them still have cisterns. Like I said, that's where
Yeah.
the people I know have it. And like I said, they were glad they got county water, but now they're going to have to go through the added expense or to put the backflow, particularly just because they have it.
Now,
Yeah.
the EPA didn't really necessarily. We're working through a letter,
Yeah.
but the initial thought was to give them approximately 6 months of these 107 to either get a backflow installed or properly abandon. We'll work with.
But it has to be
res-
inspected
The health
to
department
certify that it's
correct,
abandoned.
and
Yeah.
we want to make sure that. And this, we just had a meeting with the health department and the EPA. We want to make sure that the EPA is satisfied with the health department's. What the health department considers abandoned, that the Ohio EPA accepts that. As we found, the EPA has sometimes different regulations as other organizations, and we just want to make sure that those what we're going to require them to do will be acceptable to the Ohio EPA.
And this is a product of them being on the city, the public water system. They don't have the ability to go the other direction and opt out of the public water.
They
at
could.
that point.
Well, then it would have to disconnect and
Yeah,
go through the
but then
expense
they
of
would
disconnecting.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, they would receive our reg state that basically, if you were to just turn the water off at the shutoff valve, they would still receive a minimum bill until the water main or their service line is physically disconnected at the main.
And if they're connected to the main, they're still going to have backflow concerns because, I mean, or if the shutoff happens essentially at the street, then I guess would that mitigate the? Well, here's the reason I'm asking. I'm getting into the weeds on it, but the reason I'm asking is what, philosophically we would like to do is to see this system continue to expand, to spread our, particular capital costs greater number of customers and things like this, make it more difficult for the customers who already have, which is counterproductive.
Well,
I know it's not your policy.
yeah.
I'm just
The mandate to get rid of
opining.
the ponds is ridiculous.
Well, they wouldn't get rid of the pond. They would just either have to. They would just be required to put a backflow preventer in.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's still $1,000.
Yeah.
and then annual inspections. Therefore,
And
after.
annual inspections, yeah.
Great. Well, thank you for making us aware of it.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so we're working with the prosecutor's office on
Yeah.
this letter to make sure we get the language and everything right. But the initial thought was to give them approximately 6 months to get this.
And I think we
taken
ought to direct them to our legislators.
Yeah. Yeah.
On this one, they can always, administrative
Yes.
code can be adjusted.
Right.
care. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel we can add something in our letter to them. You know, if
Yeah.
they'd like to comment or voice their opinion regarding that, we can. I'll work with you to get those proper contacts.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
All right.
Anything else, Steve?
Nope.
Aaron, do you have anything?
I have a couple things. First, at the NOACA meeting last Friday, there was a discussion about an additional or follow-up ratification request for the bylaws amendments that we ratified last week. Was it last week, Rhonda?
Yeah, it was last week.
So the request from NOACA, I believe, was originally to just ratify a portion of the bylaws change. I believe our action last week ratified the full requested change, contrary, I guess, to the direction we received from NOACA. So I don't think there's anything for us to do on that, but just wanted to make everybody aware of that. If there is, if we're mistaken on what action we actually took last week, I guess that could come back for further discussion at some future time. And because anything with NOACA is, always heightened sensitivity, I wouldn't propose that we vote on it at a meeting without having had a prior discussion on it first. So I guess stay tuned for that. One other NOACA update. My alternate currently for the board is Commissioner Hambley. In discussing with him, there are occasions where we have mutual conflicts, and he's not able to go as my backup.
I'm usually down at CCAO.
Right, CCAO proposes a conflict pretty consistently with NOACA meetings. So if I have a conflict, then we have to kind of scramble. We did that recently with Bethany Dentler attending a meeting on our behalf, which worked fine. But I just wanted to float the possibility, because this also affects who can serve on standing committees for NOACA. It has to be my alternate. I mentioned to Brandon Gibson, who's an employee at our Economic Development Corporation, about the possibility of maybe serving in that role. He's open to it. I didn't know, Steve, if you have any objections to that.
Not at all.
But if not, then maybe
Granted, would be great.
we'll take some action to make him.
I was afraid you were going to say me. So I'm thrilled.
I know your answer. Didn't have to talk to you to know your answer.
Well, what's interesting is that when I was on it years ago, before, I don't remember that provision, that it couldn't be, especially for the committees, that it
Right.
couldn't be somebody else as an alternate, other than your board alternate.
So for subcommittees,
Yeah.
you can have
Anybody you want.
anybody as your alternate.
Yeah.
For standing committees, that has to be the board representative or their alternate.
Like I said, there was a change from before. So
Right.
That makes it a little bit more difficult, I imagine, to actually get representation up there.
I would imagine it does as well, and I think this is why it makes sense if somebody like him is
Right.
available
Yeah. Okay.
with that economic development background. There are aspects of that. What I would have ideally done, is maybe done some picking and choosing where he was on some of the standing committees that have a little more emphasis on economic development. I talked to engineer Conrad about having maybe Josh Wolf or somebody from his office serving on the ones that do more with transportation. But because of that rule, we can't do that. Because frankly, I'd rather have the people who have more expertise than I do on those things. But all else being equal, if he's willing to serve, as the stand-in, I think we'll take action to make that happen. So. And then shifting gears from NOACA, if I may.
Please.
Is that okay with everybody? There was an article in today's Gazette regarding Medina schools and their consideration of some changes to their middle schools. And in there was a mention of that this was a result of local property tax legislation. I was very concerned with that language when I first got the email actually on Friday, and then when it was in the paper this morning, that was a reference to our efforts to expand the homestead exemption for this year, for the 1-year expansion of the homestead exemption. I did have some follow-up communications with Superintendent Sable, and he did confirm that certainly wasn't the intent of that language, but I at least wanted to make a public note of that because I think, what the action we took in December was, as we talked about at the time, intended to some of the points Steve made earlier with Superintendent Malakar about the DD board, was to put all of our property tax dependent organizations in a better light, because what we continue to hear from the state legislature is if the locals don't make concessions, we're going to start doing it for them. And so that seemed like an opportunity for us to make an adjustment. Certainly it had an impact on the schools, and we heard from several of them when we went through that process, and we're sensitive to that. But ultimately, with the combination of inside millage and new levies coming into play, it really isn't a main driver of any of their financial
for 1
challenges, and it's a 1-year adjustment. So we always want to be good partners, and I think we do a lot. Not to even mention sales tax and the other ways that we assist in that. But I just wanted to kind of set the record straight on that, because I think a reference to local property tax legislation, in my mind, went directly to homestead exemption. Maybe that was not the intent of it, but I at least wanted to make a specific point about that, because for anybody who thinks that that's undermined the school's ability for future years, I think that's probably a misunderstanding. So just wanted to set that record straight.
Anything else?
That's all I had.
Matt, do you have anything? Okay, one last thing. We did express our appreciation to the County Engineers Department for all of their hard work this weekend when Dan was up at the podium. But we also would like to thank Stephen and our Maintenance Department for all the hard work that they did on our parking lots and our facilities over the weekend, and Matt Springer for keeping in constant contact with them to make sure everybody was safe. So with that, I will entertain a motion.
I would like to make a motion to go into executive session for the purpose to discuss pending litigation.
Second.
Roll.
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Very good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.